Good morning, everybody. It's Tom Cherryholmes with Errata Online and the FujiNet project, and I'm here with a companion video for the Forum XE Pro video that I did just a few days ago, this time for Carina II BBS, also using the R device. I'm testing each of these individual BBSs in order to take and improve the compatibility of the R device, because each of these different BBS programs all abuse the R device in very unique and interesting ways that I have to account for if one wishes to run a classic Atari BBS with a FujiNet. But because I'm doing this, you will literally be able to take and boot up a copy of one of these BBSs and literally get running with a minimum of effort, especially because these different disk images will be available on atariapps.errata online. So with that, let's actually get started. Carina II BBS was a BBS that was written in the late 1980s by David Hunt of Carina Software, with contributions from many different people over the next 7 years, and finally ending with the release of Carina 2.7 sometime in the spring of 1995. Carina is written in Atari Basic, and it uses a piece of assembly software, Resident Assembly Handler, called MOE, the Modem Operating Environment, in order to provide all of the I/O functionality that a BBS would actually require, and in the process make the basic programs much simpler to maintain. This is described in detail in the Carina II BBS manual, not just how it works and why it works, but also how to take and utilize this MOE so that you can write your own modules. And because of that, Carina II is an excellent example of latter Atari 8-bit development for BBS design. Carina II is also very large, and because of that, and because it's very large and is split across many different modules, it's absolutely important that you either use a hard disk, such as a SIDE 2 or 3 card cartridge, or copy everything up onto a RAM disk, so that the BBS will run reasonably fast as it's loading different basic modules in and out in response to user input or system states. We've chosen to do the latter here, and you'll notice that as we boot this up, it initializes a 1 megabyte RAM disk, creates all the directories, and then proceeds to copy each of the individual modules into the RAM disk. This will take a few moments here, so I'm going to take a mute while it actually does this. You can feel free to skip over it if you wish. It's almost finished copying the files here. Once it finishes copying here, it will finish the initialization by doing the RST32 handler, starting up MOE, setting up things like ape time and Z handler for time and date stamps, and finally handing control over to the cartridge once it boots, which we'll call the boot BBS program to start the BBS. Now, because of a glitch right here, it goes down a bit too far with the handler here. So it looks like this has been a common problem before. You can see multiple runs here because you're never quite sure, for whatever reason, where the cursor is going to wind up. So we just have to start it up. And because everything's in the RAM disk, this starts up really fast. There we are. We're sitting at a splash screen here, and I can switch over now to my virtual Atari environment with the 1200XL on the right-hand side. We'll start off by dialing up. Let me actually... Now I have to hit return here for whatever reason here. It's just something I have to take and fix in my modem implementation. I'm guessing I'm just not sending connect. I'm not waiting long enough to send the connect message. No big deal. So I'm going to pretend like I haven't logged on here. And we'll log on as a new user. And we'll go ahead and just enter something in here. Bam. Yes, is this correct? Sure. Now this is something that I always found interesting. There's some weird things about Karina that I definitely would want to patch. This is one of them. Having the street address and whatnot, and having to use slashes as delimiters. But it's not immediately evident here unless you really pay attention that you have to type this right. Because if you don't, it will straight up not let you onto the board. Gives us a user number. And yes, I'm using BF2K's example data files and whatnot here. Karina is a BBS that has everything divided up into separate sections, which they call SIGs. Special interest groups, software interest groups, whatever you want to call them. You have to go into one of them and use your keyword to go into one of them. And once you do that, you can go ahead and hit return to get to, for example, the menu. Our BBS menu, we select an item. We're going to go ahead and try to do a post a message to indicate that we got on this goofy thing. Send message to. And since if you don't put anything here, it's going to think, oh, you went into this by mistake and bounce you back out to the menu. I want to send this to everybody, so I'll just do all. So, give it a subject line. Hit slash to exit. And if you need to hit, you can of course hit question mark to see the different commands you can do at this particular point. The most common being is that you want to save this message when it's done. So S to save. Message has been sent, and at this point we're dropped back out to the main menu. Okay, great. Well, if if we go back to the menu, we can of course see we've posted a message now with the P command. Let's try to read some messages with the R command. Of course, we could go and look at the topic so we could see just the subject lines. And of course, once we've done that, we can of course read a message. And we can either say, look at the particular message number to read. We could say, for example, boom. And there's the message that we just wrote right there. Boom. Awesome. Okay, moving on. We'll go ahead and quit the message reader here. Lots of interesting little commands. You can always hit the question mark to get help. Let's try to upload something, just to test and make sure that this actually works. Oops. I keep wanting to use U for upload, but Karina doesn't do that by default. That's download, upload. Okay, we use X modem. For whatever reason, Y modem batch is not available for upload. So we have to give the file some keywords to make it easier to find. Sure. And again, it works the same way as the message editor / and then S to save. We can now take and begin the upload, and it's going to wait patiently for us while we do that. Press the start key for Bob term, go send. We're going to send it using standard X modem, and we're going to send this file here, and then we're going to hit select to transfer. Now, Bob term is of course going to take and buffer everything into memory that it can, and then start the transfer. There we go. Pushing through quite nicely. This is one of those cases where I wish I actually could take and hit the warp speed key to make this go a bit faster. But I mean, as you can see right here, it's working just fine. We're just pushing right along. Of course, if you want to take and skip right past this, of course you can as well. Looks like we're done. Yep. And the file has been uploaded. We're ready to go. We can also download just fine as well. And we'll do a quick one here just to show that this actually works as well. If I hit, that's upload. Of course, if you're noticing, if we go back to the main menu, you can see that the download and upload keys are kind of interesting. Utilities, where's forums? Where the hell is it? Excuse me. Download. So there's files, download, upload. So bam, enter. Let's have a look. Sorry. Looks like I need to do a. Looks like I need to do a browse just to find something. Yep. So existing files, which files? Let's have a look. And I'm just going to pick the first one. Sure. Yeah, why not? We're going to download that sucker. Download. And we're going to download using Y-modem batch just for the hell of it. Nope, no need to do that. So now we need to... One of the things, Bob term does not actually do this, so I literally have to do something like this. Hold on, excuse me for a minute. Do I have, yeah, okay. Is it gonna let me do this? Is there any space? No, there's no space on that drive. Oops. Yeah, okay, whoopsie. Let me make another disk. If I can do this quick enough. God damn it. I may have to restart the transfer. Yeah. All right. Bink, 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 bink. So let's. I keep wanting to hit there. So receive. No. No. Receive. I may actually be too slow here. Let's try it out. Bad block number. Nope. Sending. No. There actually might be an issue with my modem batch. Very strange. Because I do know this was working the other day. Oh, damn. Okay. Let me abort. I shall try to abort and see and try just standard X modem here. I know this worked a little bit before. Aborted, sure. We'll try this again. Download. File transfer mode. Same. I'll just use X modem this time. Nope. And we will try this again. Let's start. Receive. No. 1. D3. And we shall try again. Waiting for, and there we go. Very strange. Slight difference in the X modem protocol here, but you can see it's working just fine. And Y modem worked last night too. I wonder what happened. Give it a few moments to complete. This is approximately 11K, so we're looking at about 80 sectors or so, or 80 blocks. Yeah, should be about done. Right there. And saving, and we should be done. Bam! Yay! There we go, successful file transfer. Now we can, of course, quit this particular bits and pieces here. Q to quit, or exit to main BBS. It's weird, they have quit and exit. You'll notice as it's doing this, what it's actually doing in the background is it's loading the different modules as it goes from one part of the board to the other. So you can see why loading this into a RAM disk or having it on a fast hard disk is absolutely important. We'll go ahead and finish up by logging off on the BBS. Now it's very important here, especially with how Karina is default configured in this installation. It's not goodbye, it's not G, it's L. We go ahead, we log off. Sure, let's save the password. Bam. And there we go. The BBS is saved, it's logged off, and it is prepared for another call. And just so that you can see that it actually will take and properly recycle itself, will take and log back in again. You can see that it's ready to accept another call within about 30 seconds. And if we go again, we can see, bam, there we go. And we're back again. Last caller was that. We'll go ahead and log back in with that account again. And we're back. D-dot-dot-dot-dot-dot. Now, if I hit return here, it will take and send me to the electronic mail by default. I can, of course, take and go back and go to a different SIG. And of course, if I just do, for example, that, it will switch automatically. And you can see, because the only things that are not on the main disk are the different SIGs and whatnot. All the program bits are on the RAM disk. The switching happens pretty fast. So, I mean, there we go. A reasonably well-functioning Carina II installation. Some things need to be refined, but it seems to be working just fine. I know this video went on a bit longer than I had anticipated, but I wanted to kind of show the whole thing from beginning to end. So, with that, I will leave you guys and keep this thing running. I will continue to take and refine on this as I find the time and the cycles. So, until next time, guys, have fun.